spending 2 years before launching your product isn't always a mistake. For us, it made it a lot better, but it also killed our progress. Honestly, we thought it would take 3 months to get this done. But right now, it's been 2 years. And the hardest part, knowing what made our product and business better and what slowed us down. Let me show you what was actually worth it. The one thing that made these 2 years worth it was building the product. It might not be immediately visible in the pictures, but there's a massive improvement between these two samples. Our first one on this side had no stretch. They were really uncomfortable, the fit was really bad, and just in general, they were horrible shorts. Our final sample though, through several iterations, now has stretch, the liner's really soft, there's no chafing, and we really worked on the fit to make sure it fits guys with big legs. And the thing is, if we would not have taken time to make sure that our final sample is really good, we would have just disappointed our customers. They would have given us feedback about things that we could have solved on our own or figured out on our own. And in general, we think that they would not have liked it at all. That being said, when do you know when you're supposed to launch the product and when it is too early? And I don't think there is a right or wrong answer to this, and I think it differs from business to business and product to product. But what we try to aim for is to get the product to about 70% done. At that point, we think that your product is good enough so your customers and audience are not like, what the F is this? But also at the same time, it's not perfect where you spend like months and years building the product only because you personally felt that you had to get it to be the absolute perfect state. But I think it's a fine balance, and it differs from business to business and product to product. So the lesson here is that some perfection is good. The product needs to be good enough so your customers and audience don't think, oh, what the F is this? But also it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect where everything is figured out, because you want to build the product as well based on your customers' feedback. And whether you think the product is perfect or not, the customers will come with feedback that will make you change certain things about it. The delay and the time it took for us to get our final sample made was something that was personally very frustrating to us. As I've mentioned in many videos before, we genuinely thought that getting the product done, getting it ready to sell would take 2, 3, or 4 months. What ended up happening instead was that it took us 2, 3, 4 months just to get one sample. And what's included in those 2, 3, 4 months is the manufacturer shipping the product to us testing the product and writing down all the notes, talking with our product designer, and then the product designer changing the tech pack and then sending those instructions and the new details back to the manufacturer. So it is this constant game of fixing things, working on stuff, and then waiting for several weeks while the manufacturer makes the new shorts and then they ship it to you. And that process can be really frustrating at times. So the lesson here is that things take longer than you think, and as Gary Vee would say, be impatient with actions, but patient with results. The real problem, though, was that we were doing two types of work at the same time. Type 1 was improving the product. So that was things like making the liner better, giving the shorts more stretch, improving the fit, making them more comfortable, and especially making sure that you don't chafe when you wear the swim shorts. That was one type of work. And the type 2 kind of work was the type of work that would waste time and make us procrastinate and delay things. That's the kind of work you're trying to avoid, or we were trying to avoid, but it's not very easy to avoid in the moment. That would be things like fixing tiny details, doing minor work on the website, doing logo tweaks, and making sure the logo is absolutely perfect. And the tricky part is that both those type of works feel like they're important work. Both feel like they make your business and product better. But at that point, you need to ask yourself, what kind of work makes your customer experience better, and what kind of work made us feel better? And sometimes it's really difficult to tell the difference between these two. For example, right now we have a logo, and it's a beautiful logo, and I'm really happy with it, and my brother is really happy with it as well. The logo is based on a runic script, which gives it that really Viking kind of vibe. But as you may have noticed when I showed you the samples before, which was that this sample has one type of logo, and our final sample has this type of logo. And the reason for that is because we changed the logo. We were unhappy with this logo on these samples, and we decided to change to this logo on these samples. We spend a lot of time working on that new logo, more than we should have. And that work that we spent on that logo made us feel really good and made us feel really productive. But now afterwards, I ask myself, how much did this actually improve our business and improve our customer experience? When it comes to this, you have to have a kind of balance, and it's a very fine kind of balance between these two things. On the one hand, if we launched our product early and the product was really bad, maybe we would have killed our brand, or we would have made the start and the launch way more difficult than what it had to be. And that could give us a massive backlash and kill trust immediately. But on the other side as well, we hid behind perfection and wanted to perfect certain things that maybe are not that important or were not that important at that time. And don't get me wrong, some perfection is inevitable, but try to focus on the things that actually matter, that make your business better, make your customer experience better, and provides more value to the people that you want to serve. That's what we tried to do and what we learned from this whole process. And I'm sharing this with you now, so hopefully you can avoid those mistakes that we did. So if I had to start over, I would still spend the same amount of time building the product and making sure the product is really good and up to that 70% that I spoke about before. But I wouldn't spend so much time on the things that don't matter, like making the logo absolutely perfect. We're getting really close to launching our swim shorts for Nordic Dudes. We only have a couple of small things left to do until we actually are ready to launch. If you want to stay up to date on what happens next and when we launch, subscribe down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye.